my business partners, and I interact with these business partners, and I exchange data between these partners. So an enterprise, whether it is an online or whether it is a brick and stone, and that is called an enterprise, which is a central component of it, and the central component of it interacts with your suppliers, vendors, employees, and third-party companies, right? Banks, Dun & Bradstreet, like that we have different agencies. The idea is that when I'm running a business, I want to run my business efficiently with the utmost information about my competitors and about how I am running my business. The business data will be so huge that we need to get our hands around the data. So what is business intelligence? Business intelligence is basically converting the data into information which makes sense for the business. And the data should be the right information. I cannot give wrong figures. If I am producing a general ledger statement or a balance sheet of my company, I have to say exactly what are my assets, what are my liabilities, right? So I should have right information, and it should be the right time. I closed my year at December 31st, 2014. I cannot say to stock exchange that I will give my financial documents at the end of 2015. The timing should be right. Similarly, the format should be right. What is the format? On my left I will have assets, on my right I will have liabilities. Like that, there is a format, right? And the format should be readable by the people who in general who are reading it, right? So these are the three most important things. I want to convert my data. How is the data being generated? The data is being generated by our business systems or the transaction processing systems. In an industry term, it is known as OLTP, Online Transaction Processing System. What does by online mean? The online means that as I reserve a ticket, or as I hire an employee, or I post a financial document into a ledger, these are all happening real time. As I post it, it is getting updated in the database. That is why it is called as online. You never expect that when you go for reserving your ticket, you will never say, you will not wait for 24 hours to know whether the ticket is booked or not. You book it and you get the result is updated, and if there are seats available, you get the confirmation back immediately, right? So that is online / real time. Okay, online transactions. What do I do in my business? I conduct transactions. What are the various types of transactions? The various types of transactions are like hiring an employee, firing an employee, paying a vendor, receiving goods from a vendor, receiving cash from the customers, receiving a purchase order from the sales order from the customer, purchase order to the vendor. So these are all called transactions. So what do I do in the business? I am doing real-time transactions. That is what is OLTP system is. So for example, SAP R3 or ECC. R3 is the earlier term people use, and nowadays the terminology is ECC. So all the business happens in the ECC. And our job as a BW/BI consultant, I will explain the difference between what is business warehouse and what is business intelligence down the line. When I take the information, I do 3 discrete processes. Whoever joined now, Ledley, you have to mute yourself. Ledley, I saw Ledley joining, so mute yourself. Or Deepali, you can mute if you have the option. So what happens? The OLTP system is generating a lot of data, and as a BW consultant, we have to take the data and load into a SAP BW system or any BW system which your enterprise has planned and signed off with the vendor. Okay, so you gather this data and you are going to do 3 discrete steps. What do? You extract the data from your OLTP system. You transform the way you want. Okay, what is the meaning of way you want? In my transaction processing system, I have the data at a very high granularity. What does granularity mean? I have all the details. Suppose I am maintaining a customer. I will have the address of the customer, I will have his bank details, I will have his physical location. He might be shipping to one place, he might be billing a bank. So I will have all the details about that customer. But in BW, I am not interested in his details, right? I am only interested how I am doing with this customer. Okay, is he giving me enough business, and how are his payment terms? I am only interested in few of the details. So in the BW system, my job is to extract the data from the transaction processing system into the warehouse to the extent I need the information, right? That is where the transformation comes. And the transformation, suppose you are collecting the data at suppose you go to a bookshop, right? You go to a bookstore, Office Depot, okay? So what do? You order all the stationery you need, say for your kids starting the school. So you will order certain number of books, certain number of pens, pencils, like that, right? So when you order, they are called line items. I may store in my transaction processing all the line items, but when I'm analyzing in my warehouse, when I'm trying to give some intelligence to my business, I don't care initially, I don't care what are the line items of my transaction. I only care how I am doing with this customer. So I may have to aggregate all the transactions that are happening, and I may have to give it to the business or to the decision makers that with this customer I have done so many millions of dollars. If the business asks, if the CIO or CEO asks, okay, what are the products he's buying, then I will figure out that do I have to get the product detail or not. So that is known as granularity. Okay. So what I'm doing in ETL, I'm extracting the data to the level I want. I will transform it. The transforming can be masking the data. It can be aggregating the data. It can be, you can also do some conversion of the data. It can be anything. That part is called as transformation. And then the third part is loading. You physically, persistently, you load the data and keep it in a model, keep it in a data model. And that is the core essence of this class. We are trying to learn the science and the technology of data modeling, and that is known as information warehouse. Why it is an information warehouse? We are converting the data generated into information, and that process is done through the ETL process: extraction, transformation, and loading. Now the next step, I have loaded the data, I kept it in my data model, and now I want to report out of it, and that is the reporting part is known as business intelligence. The ETL part and loading in the data model is known as business information warehouse. So that is the difference between a BW and BI. Got it? Now you all must have known, or you must be hearing about HANA a lot, right? What is HANA? HANA is basically a database. It's an in-memory database, which we will talk in the second half. But just to give you a big picture, so we are touching three components here in our course. We are touching about warehouse. We will be talking slightly about the business intelligence, the reporting portion of it, and the database portion of it, which is the HANA. Okay. Now coming back to this slide, that is the general introduction I wanted to give about this course. Now let's go to these slides quickly and try to get some hang around that what is the information we are collecting about. So there is, the data is three types: strategic, tactical, and operational, right? So what is a strategic data, what is a tactical data, and what is operational data? Let's dwell on it for some time. Now when I do my transaction in my transaction processing systems, when I'm doing all these transactions, okay, we may be doing all or some of it, but my business is this, and my business verticals are sales and marketing, manufacturing, finance, accounting, human resources, very general ones, right? Any organization has these as these departments are these verticals, right? Our job is to, based on these transactions like plant scheduling, cash management, accounts receivable, AP, AR, payroll, employees, sales order processing, purchase order processing. So these are all the transactions which I'll be doing in the OLTP system, and that is in the form of pure data. Now, you are a business analyst, suppose, for your job, right? So what you do, you take the data and you either process in your computer or in your Microsoft Word or in an email or on a web or on an Excel spreadsheet, right? So that kind of data is known as operational data. That means the data which is required to run the operations of a business. And the nature of the operational data is, first, it is highly granular. That means that all the data that I require to run the business is there. It is highly granular. Okay. So do I need all the granularity or not? The knowledge worker decides. As I told you, do I want all the line items of the business I have done, or do I only want the high level customer sales orders I'm getting? That the knowledge worker decides. The second level is the management information systems. These are the people who run the operations, departmental heads, business leads, who try to figure out that, okay, am I doing this, one second guys. Am I doing the business in the northern region, or how is my business in the northern region, how is my business in the southern region, right? I try to figure out, as a business head or a business lead, I try to figure out how is the business in these respective areas. So that kind of decisions, there I don't care whether I have done with this customer 100 line items or 10 line items. I don't care about those. So that kind of decision is known as tactical, which for a short range planning, I'm trying to use the information and trying to make business decisions. And the third level is the top level executives who decide, okay, should we continue this product, or should we enhance this product, or should we outsource this product? All these decisions are based upon the executives, and that is known as your strategic decisions. So if you see, I keep the same data is being used by different people from different perspectives. The job of a BW BI consultant is to align the data accordingly based upon who is consuming. You publish the data based upon the consumption, and that process is basically the business where you model accordingly. You model accordingly to which group I am targeting. So these are the common questions basically which any business likes to. I'm just giving you the perspective of this, okay, that which are our lowest and highest margin customers, who are my customers, what products are they buying. So if I want to do a CRM, customer relationship management kind of data, then I have to ask all these questions, and accordingly I'll come at a decision. So basically previously this was known as a decision support system. In the earlier versions of the business intelligence, this was also known as decision support system. So basically the data we are converting into information to make some decisions, that is the final. And how important are these questions for the enterprises? Often, I don't know how much experience you all have, but usually when you go run into a business, the people ask, oh, my data is not very organized, okay, I don't have the way I want it. I cannot read the data, I cannot interpret the data, right? These are the common complaints usually we hear. And so when you talk to the information workers, they will say, can you give my data in this format? Suppose you are producing a daily general ledger, you are in a bank and you want to give to your manager that how much cash has come, how much cash has been given, how much cash has come into the bank, and how much cash has been has gone out of the system. So what do? You do your debits and credits, you tally, and you give that statement to your boss. So you have to align the data. Now, what is the job of a BW person? You create a data model where when they do all the debits and credits, at the end of the day, they are pushed into the BW data model, and you create a report in the format. It should be like what are debits, credits, and then you give. So you are giving them the information they want. Now, in giving the information they want, you may have to transform it. That is but the ultimate goal, you will be a successful consultant when you will know always what is the ultimate goal of the data I am doing, not like you are pigeonholed to do this. Okay, I will transform this data, but when you have a big picture, you can figure out that how I should model, what is the efficient way of modeling. And then we'll decide that which tool I have to use. Can I use a spreadsheet, or do I have to use a dashboard? If you want a bird's eye view, okay, then if I give you a spreadsheet, the CEOs and the CIOs, they don't have time to read. They will say, give me the big picture of how my accounts receivable is, how much I am to receive. Okay, if you start telling, okay, go according to this block of the data on the Excel, they won't listen. They don't have time for those. So you will give a dashboard to them saying that from the Northeast region, receivable is pending this, from the South this. You will give a very big picture in the graph format, which they can catch very easily. So our job is to align the data and make it, give them the way they want. And my next will, and after that, what do I do? My strategic and tactical managers, what they do, they take this data and they try to predict. What does tactical people do? Okay, this year I have produced around 5 million cars. Okay, and in these are the market segments and these are the products. So they will start budgeting and planning for the next year. That's what the tactical managers do. And what does the strategic managers do? Okay, I am not selling in the Northeast region because of these competitors. Let me modify the product, or let me do some market segmentation. Okay, let me segment the market such that I can place myself. Okay, in the South there are no much dealer sellers, so let me increase my dealership in South and try to get the business there. So these are called the strategic decisions. So how do I get the strategic decisions? Based on the data I have from the previous history. So I create a trend, I extrapolate the data and try to create the trends in the business. And what are the returns can I expect? So you may say, okay, why? What we do is that usually in projects, what we do, we try to do the as is, what is the current state of the business, and we try to do what is to be. Okay, and our job is to bridge the gap between as is and to be. Okay, and finally, when a strategic decision is being taken, we try to find the financial impact of it, right? That what will it cost me if I implement this product, or if I implement this marketing strategy, what will it cost me and what will it give me in return? So I have to do that cost benefit analysis, and all this, for this you need the data. So rightly or wrongly, you have chosen this course. This field itself is very important, because nowadays, if you see the trend, this industry is going to be, when it started, it was like a less than $1 billion industry, this business intelligence, business warehouse business. Now the prediction is by Gartner that it will be a $50 billion company in next 2 years. So because everybody needs information, they want to stay competitive. Okay, so this all is solved by the business intelligence. The data is scattered all over. Like suppose you have your payroll in your PeopleSoft, you have your financials in your Oracle financials, you have your manufacturing in SAP. The fundamental problem is BI is the layer which harmonizes the data, which connects the data between these three systems. Otherwise, they are three disparate systems. They don't talk to each other because they are by different vendors. So my job as a BI is to take this data and align itself, okay, I will harmonize the data the way we want. That is, the data is scattered over the network in many versions, right? And what is the purpose? I told you it is one source of truth. So I have to give one source of truth. What does one source of truth mean? If you ask payroll, they will say I have paid 1.5 million in payroll. When the same transaction is, you ask FI people, they may not have 1.5 million. They may have 1.4 million as what I sent to the bank, and 10 might be, there might be some checks they have cut which they have not recorded, or they don't have the information as of today morning. They may have tomorrow morning when I do the batch upload. So my job is to see that the data is 1.5 million across payroll and across FI, and that is called as integration. I have to integrate the data so that there is one source of truth coming out. And we have to be data experts. We don't have to be business experts, but we have to be the data experts. They give you this data. Your job is to massage the data the way the users want. And of course, there should be a data lineage. Okay, it should not be poorly documented. That means, what does the data lineage means? The data lineage means when the data comes from when you produce a report out of a business intelligence system, that report, when you try to match, when you try to balance whether it reconciles with your source system. Your source is saying 1.5 million in payroll, but the report is saying 1.4 million. So that means there is some discrepancy there. So the data lineage, that is called data lineage. When I track back, when I drill through, drill across, drill down, whatever I do, my data, it should give the same truth no matter what. And data, as I told you, needs transformation. So what is a high-level architecture? Very, very high-level architecture. What happens? This gives a big picture of what a business intelligence or a business warehouse systems are. So I have my ETL tools, where if you see there are many arrows I have put here. These many arrows are from different source systems. This may come from finance, this come from HR, and this might be a SAP system, this might be a PeopleSoft, this might be Oracle Financial, this might be homegrown database. So my job is to collect the data and do the ETL, extract, transform, and load into the warehouse. This is the data model. Then what I'm going to do, I'm putting it into different data marts. Why I'm putting in different data marts? Because my users, my consumption of the data might be, marketing people may want it in a particular perspective, finance people may want the same data in a different perspective, and my distribution people may want in a different perspective, right? So my job is to create those perspectives from the common warehouse which I have extracted from various heterogeneous landscape systems, okay? And when I report, again I have to align the data. So it depends upon, if you see here, this is an integration architecture and this is a replication architecture. Here I'm replicating the data warehouse into different data marts. Then I'm consuming the data from different data marts into BI. And I do my OLAP. What is OLAP? Online Analytical Processing Reporting. Here you do the analytics on the data you have put in your business intelligence or business warehouse. What are the analytics? The analytics can be predictive analytics. Predictive means I'm going to do future trends, or it can be mandatory or statutory reports like your 10K report, your yellow book report, your blue book reports if you are a finance person. So they can be those reports, right? And these reports can be also operational, which has to run my business, or they can be simple. You can do a simple pivot table joins or anything from the business intelligence. It all depends upon who is consuming your report, who you are publishing it, okay? So the same thing, this slide is I just given if somebody wanted details that what is strategic, what is tactical, and what are functional. So for example, strategic are continuous improvement of decision-making capabilities to increase revenues and costs. That means my job here is I don't want to get very detail into the data. I want very high level summarized data so that I can take my decisions. Okay, whereas in tactical, I want to do some ad hoc analysis, I want to do some slicing and dicing, I want to do drill downs. That's what the tactical data is. And operational, I told you that each function generates its own data, right? Finance does budgeting and planning, marketing has market campaigns, sales has sales order analysis. Like that, every kind of data what you want from the functional perspective. So what is OLAP? OLAP is you are trying to now analyze the data, and we put that in a data model, and in the industry term that the container where you store the data is known as InfoCube, cube, general. Don't try to think that you can only measure the business in 3 dimensions. Since cube is 3-dimensional, it doesn't mean that you only measure your dimensions. Your dimensions is multi-dimensional. That means I can measure across various dimensions. I can measure across region, I can measure across products, I can measure across time, I can also measure across different customers, right? I can also measure across different credit payments, how I am getting, how this customer is, which customers have good credit outstanding. So I can measure across many dimensions. That is why online analytical processing, I am trying to do the analysis which is online. That means I can get the data into my BW and without interrupting the operational process, I am doing my reporting and analytics. Let me tell you the reason why we are doing BW. In my next technology session, I will talk about that. So this is just a big picture I wanted to give you, that how the analytical software, that means the business warehouse software, is increasing per the trend. As every year the consumption is increasing. That is why BW people are needed very much in the industry for running the business. It's not a, though it is treated as a cost center, but it is useful. And this is for the OLAP market where the business intelligence. So I told you 2 parts, business warehouse and business intelligence. That is what is about the why we need a BW system. Now let me introduce you to HANA. What you must have heard a lot of things about HANA, right? I am not going to go into the details of the HANA because it is very technical. I am going to give you a big picture only here, okay? So download this, that way I need not worry about. Now why we are doing, why do we have a separate system where the information from the transaction is coming into BW system? Let me give you that very high level overview of that. What happens is that computers are there, or any system is nothing but a computer hardware, right? It is an hardware. I can have the resources on my hardware are limited. I cannot have infinite processing power. I cannot have infinite memory on my computer, right? I have a certain processing, certain disk space, certain RAM, and certain CPUs, right? Some certain CPU power. So what happens? The OLTP systems are geared for processing the transaction. The turnaround time for the transaction processing should be very quick. If you go to a reservation, you don't want to wait with the hourglass for 10 minutes to confirm, to get your reservation yes or no online. Suppose you're doing your reservation. You don't want to wait for 10 minutes for that confirmation. The moment you execute the transaction, it should give you back the result. See, that's what at the speed of the business, what these That is the velocity you are expecting from the business system. Now, but that if you are trying to do transaction and at the same time if you try to do a reporting out of the same system, what happens is that your processing power is impaired. That means some of your resources have to be diverted to reporting on the same machine or on the same system, same ERP OLTP system. If you are trying to do reporting also, it will slow down your performance on the transactions. So the business will slow down and the business will say big no. If you want to do reporting, get out, do in the night. Let me do the business first, right? So that is the meaning of why BW is. So to offload the load on the online transaction process system, on a nightly basis, we put the data into the warehouse. I don't want the whole, if the OLTP system generated 10,000 lines of data, I don't want all 10,000 lines. I may be aggregating the 2,000 or 1,000 lines in my warehouse and then I will analyze it accordingly. So on a nightly fashion, I ETL the data into my business warehouse so that on the night when the business is really slow, then I will extract the data. That way I am not stopping the business speed. That is the fundamental process why BW is there. Now nowadays you may ask, there are real-time reporting and all that. So that is the segue to my next topic, that why HANA, why SAP introduced HANA. So people are saying that I don't want stale data of one day old. Okay, I don't want 1 day old data. That means when you put it in a nightly fashion, I want to know right now if somebody, I closed my books and somebody posted a manual journal entry, MJE is what they call as in short. When they do MJEs, I want to see yesterday night I closed my books and I have started reporting on my balance sheet on my BW report. But today morning they came and figured out, when I did a trial balance, my assets and liabilities did not match. So some entries are missing. So what the accountant will do, he will go and post some manual entries into the system. But those manual entries are in the OLTP system. The BW will say tomorrow morning you will get it. You won't get it today. Business will say no. I cannot live with that. I have to again post those transactions, see on my report, and if there is still reconciliation issue, I want to post more entries. So they want real-time data. So the need for HANA is, they don't want a batch data. They also want real-time data into their reporting system. Number one. Number two, the processing speed with a traditional database. Now I'm talking with technology guys here. We are shifting, we'll shift our gears to technology now from the business. If you know that on the business side, on the technology side, the usual architecture is what? It's a 3-system architecture, right? I have an application server, I have a presentation server, I have a application server, and I have a database server. So how does the data flow? When a request comes from a presentation server, that means online you are sending your request saying that book my ticket. So that is a request which is coming from the application's presentation server, and that goes to an application server where it checks, it does the processing that this is an existing customer. So I have his bank card or credit card details. So it processes that and goes to the database and checks whether there are any seats available. So what it does, it puts the data from the database into application server, puts from the database into the memory, that table which holds the reservations for that particular segment and that airline or whatever you are doing. So in the RAM of the application server, the whole processing is happening. But my RAM of my application server is I cannot have infinite RAM there. I can have only 5 gig, 10 gig, right? My RAM cannot be bigger than that in enterprise applications. So that is another proportion. So what happens? The data, when it goes from presentation to application to the database, the time, the efficiency, the speed, and everything is taken into consideration, and it impairs your performance. Users are they want information at the fingertips. The moment they post something, they want to see what is the outcome of it. To enhance that capabilities, SAP has introduced HANA. What is HANA? So the traditional databases are RDBMS databases, right? Relational database management systems. That means they are they are relational. What are relational? I have a primary key, I have a foreign key, I have one table is connected to another table through a primary key, foreign key relationships. That is a very high level definition of an RDBMS. They are related. Okay, they are related. Somebody has a question. Priyanka Jain. So, what is the question? I didn't get a question. Anyway, we'll try to handle questions later, Priyanka. If something you are unable to follow, then let me know. So what happens is that the purpose is, see, I have a ERP system and I load data into my BW system, SAP BW system. Previously, all my databases were relational databases. That means the data was stored on a disk. Okay, the data was stored on a disk and it was in a certain schematic form of primary key foreign, through a primary key foreign key relationship, various tables were joined. Whereas in HANA, what you're trying to do is all the data is in your memory and is in your RAM. I will ask you a simple analogy. You want to get a file. One file is on the network and one file is on your jump drive, thumb drive, whatever you call USB drive. Which is a faster way to get the file? From where the file can be easily retrieved? Definitely it is from your RAM, right? Which is from your jump drive, because it is very close. It need not hop through the network to get the file. The same is the concept of HANA. What is HANA? High performance analytical appliance. It is an appliance. So when you put this appliance to your database, it will accelerate the performance. It will accelerate your memory, because everything, whatever processing you are doing on an enterprise application happens in a memory. Okay, the processing happens in the memory of the system. So what SAP beautifully came up with this concept is that let me do whole of my applications in the RAM instead of on a interface between a application and a database. Now people may have questions. So everything is RAM, and if somebody pulls the plug, what will happen? Yeah, everything will be wiped out. So that is why what we do is that we persistently store from the RAM onto the database just as a backup every night. But to a user, that is not important. To a user or a consumer, everything comes from HANA. So the RDBMS, So the RDBMS part will be replaced by the HANA. Now SAP NetWeaver was previously on RDBMS. Now it is sitting on HANA. That is the difference. What is SAP BW on HANA means? BW is not sitting on a traditional database. It is sitting on a HANA database. Why HANA? These are the innovations which has brought this technology in place. There are hardware innovations, there are software innovations. Previously, I could not have a multi-core architecture. That means I could not put many CPUs in one configuration. Now I can do multi-core architecture. What does that do? It gives you MPP, massive parallel processing, what we call. You can process the data very fast. To give you some statistics, when I run a report on a HANA, it comes less than a second. When I run the same report on a traditional database, it may take 45 seconds or like that. So that is the difference of the speed, what I am trying to give you just a perspective of it. Then you can store now all your chips, all your integrated chips are now 64-bit address space, right? They are, those who cannot comprehend, forget, you don't need these details, but I'm giving you just to know that what is it, what is HANA and why it came into picture. So what happens, I can have almost 2 terabytes of data on my RAM only. Okay, I can have 2 terabytes of data because of this address spaces. And the prices of the RAM, the memory are decreasing. Previously, the cost of the memory, if you wanted to extend your memory on your laptop, you know how much you had to make a 512 MB into a 1 gig earlier. It was very expensive. Now 1 gig is very cheap. And what are the software? If you know, the traditional RDBMS stores the data in row and column format, right? These are known as row formats, where all your characteristics are in the rows and your key figures are in the columns. So your table is in the, whereas in HANA, it's a combination of row and column. That means all my customer data will be here. All my amounts will be in one column. All my customers will be one column. All regions will be one column. What is the advantage? I will teach when I will be teaching the HANA basics in the class. Okay, what is the advantage of row over column for processing? For writing the data, row is better. For reading the data, column is better. So that is how we will handle our data model. And I can compress the data. If you know, if somebody is a SAN, storage area networks, or they know that what is the importance of compression. What do we do in compression? We compress the data and keep it. So it is just like a zip file. If you want to understand compression, the analogy, the best analogy is zip drive. When you have to send a file, what do? You zip it and send it. That way when it is traversing across the network, it is going in a compressed state, so that the handling by the network sensitivity, network speed, everything will be very good. And I don't have to do any complicated data models here. I can do a simple data model and get it. These are the how it is been orchestrating this. So the fundamental difference between a classical approach and a HANA approach is, as I told you previously, all calculations were being done by the application layer, but now all calculations are shifted to the database layer. That means the data, we are doing calculations, what we say, at home. The calculations previously performed in the application server memory, now they are being performed in the database layer. So what is BW powered by HANA is, all the BW, previously the PW was on the NetWeaver system. There was, now somebody must have heard about BW Accelerator. The BW Accelerator was a tool when HANA was not in place. It was a tool to boost the performance of the reports. Now with this HANA, I don't need the tool also. That appliance I don't need. I can just run my BW on the HANA and I can report out of it at a super high speed. So what do I get? I get speed, I get scalability. What does scalability means? Today my footprint of my database is 2 terabytes. My business is increasing. My consumption of my reports have increased. Now it is a 10 terabyte. What do I have to do? I have to go and just add, I have to go and add my CPUs and memory. That way I can scale it up. Okay, I can support a 10 terabyte database also. That is what the extent, and it is flexible. I can do very flexible modeling on it. Okay, these are the components of the BW, what we do, like cube, info objects, and planning engines. So these are the 3 fundamental operations what we do on a BW. So HANA has given you to do on the HANA also, you can do all these operations. That's what he is trying to tell. This is just an example of the performance. What is the difference between previously there is a process called activation of the data that used to take 80%, whereas loading the data only takes 20%, but to activate data it used to take 80%. Now that decreased to the activation time is now very less. Activation time is very less. And now activation is happening, as I told you, not at a RAM level, not at application server level, but at a database level. So these are the lab results, where here previously 4,500 seconds became 473. That is the difference what HANA is. And there is a difference in the modeling also. Previously my star schema used to have dimension tables in between. Now I have bypassed that. I can sunset. I don't have need to have dimension tables in my data model. What is this? This is star schema, which I have to explain you, but just to give you a high level overview, the modeling also changed, because that is what I have been explaining you here, that no aggregates are necessary. That is what the meaning of that is. Okay, that means I don't have to do complicated models. My data model can be simple. So with this I will end, because these modeling opportunities we are going deep into the that how we are doing this is for our main course, but I wanted to give you what is BW on HANA, what is BW, and what is data warehouse. So with this I will I'm stopping. I can open the floor for the questions. Deepali, you can unmute them.
I've unmuted everyone. Okay.
Yeah, you can unmute everyone. Thanks, Deepali. Yeah. So what is this course about? How is this course structured? What do I teach in this course? I first teach the basics of enterprise data warehouse, which is the SAP's product. This course is specifically related to SAP. So I'll be teaching about BW. I'll be concepts of HANA. I'll be teaching the concepts of HANA, and I will be teaching how you would have to do the modeling on BW on HANA. No other course, even if you go to SAP, you don't get. They are the same products. Oh, SSRS, they are not, as far as I know, they are not. Let me explain you. The Microsoft one products are not scalable. The best scalable product on the market is SAP, no doubt about it. Secondly, this SSIS and SSRS, they are the reporting components. They are not on. First of all, they are not in memory, and I cannot use them for large enterprises which are global. For small ones, you can use those. HANA is a in-memory technology. Okay, it's an in-memory technology, and it is not a reporting system, guys. Don't. SSIS and SSRS are reporting systems, whereas HANA is a database. The reporting happens through your OLAP. Okay, so don't get confused. Please have that clarity. What you are learning with HANA, HANA is the database. You are trying to model how I can use this database and how can. So that is why the BW portion here, doesn't change. The blue portion is remaining same earlier and now also. How you model this SSRS and SSIS is this blue portion. Got it, Ritesh?
Just go to a fire. Okay.
Okay, Ritesh. Any other questions?
Let me guess.
If you're doing reporting on HANA, that is different than a role as a HANA developer. Yes, HANA developer. Okay, let me explain you that concept. If you see the first slide on this HANA, this slide. See, I told you that I get data from my ERP system into my BW system, right? From my ERP system, I get data into my BW system. So HANA can be a database for ERP, it can be a database for BW. When you say you are a HANA developer, you are doing the reporting out of ERP system. Whereas BW on HANA means the modeling is done in BW and you will be extracting data from the EC system onto the HANA. Suppose you don't have a BW system. Whoever is the keyboard, they can mute themselves. Okay. So what happens is that on an ERP system also, I can put my ERP system also on a HANA, and that modeling is done by the HANA developer. Don't you do HANA modeling in BW? You can do also if that is required. If I want real-time data, I can do modeling. So when you try to develop data models on HANA, you are called as a HANA developer. So I will be giving you introduction. That's what I told you. I'll teach you HANA means I will be giving introduction to HANA modeling also. That question, Ledley, you have to ask Deepali. I cannot answer that question. Deepali, if you are there, Ledley is asking that when do you anticipate the session beginning? How will it be scheduled? That I can tell. Usually it would be like 1.5 days of the weekend, like couple of hours on Friday and 1 day of Saturday or Sunday. I had experience when I teach both days, people get brain dead by the two. So I want to keep 1 day of a weekend. That is a better approach I have seen, but that is a consensus and that you can discuss with Deepali on that. Will it be on Saturdays? Preferably yes. I would prefer Saturdays, but I have to see what is the general consensus. But 99% it would be Saturdays, Ledley.
Oh, okay, that sounds great.
Yes, and Ledley, I will get back to you after the session.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks.
Okay.
And may I ask you one more question?
Sure, please, as many questions as possible, so that I want you to be an educated consumer.
Oh, okay, that sounds great. As far as with the sessions, they're usually conducted for what length of period? Like, is it 2 months, 3 months, 4 months? Or?
Usually, let me tell you this, I would be needing around 25 to 30 hours of BW data modeling. I would be needing, it depends upon the speed of the class. That's why I'm giving 25 to 30, I'm telling you, because there are people who are slow, there are people who can grasp fast. Depending on their backgrounds, I have to explain some concepts in detail. So it would be like 25 hours minimum BW, 25 to 30, and 10 to 15 hours of HANA modeling, and 10 hours, I would say 10 to 15 hours of BW on HANA. What happens on BW on HANA? So I would say 45 hours minimum you would be needing. Will we do 2 days a week? 3, that depends upon the month, right? If we do 2 days a week, it may finish in 5 weeks. So it depends upon like that.
Oh, okay.
So, but I would be needing 50 hours, 45 to 50 hours of instruction and the practice, the assumption is that you will be doing between the sessions on the system.
Oh, okay, that sounds great.
I will be showing you the basic how to do on the system, but the practice session on your own you have to do at home. You will be given access to the system.
Oh, okay, that sounds great. Sounds intriguing. Thank you.
No problem. Technology question. You said HANA is a separate database hosted in the in-memory RAM. Does it mean that the application that uses HANA does not have any traditional databases at all? Okay. The point I was telling is yes, Ritesh. It will not have any other database, but as I told you, I don't keep everything in the memory. I take a backup, so I have a persistent database also from the RAM. Very often I keep and put it in a database. Suppose somebody pulls the plug of the RAM. What happens? What is RAM? When you shut off your computer, all what you stored in your RAM is gone, right? So I don't want that to happen. So what do? I take that and put it on my C drive. That's what example that's what we do. Thank you, Ledley. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's both a technical and you should have some business knowledge, you should have technology, you should have everything. So it's a combination. Yes, there is a constant backup of HANA. No worries. You can ask many questions. No, don't worry about the number of questions. You're welcome, Ritesh. Yeah. Yeah, you can get in touch with Deepali and she will give you all those details about the program, Ledley.
Okay.
Yes, Ledley, I will get in touch with you.
Okay, that sounds great.
But Ledley, before you leave, I have to tell you, though the instruction is 45-50 hours, you may have to put yourself at least 30 to 40 hours, at least 20 to 25 hours per week on your own also. Reading. There will be a lot of reading because I will be covering a lot of concepts, and you to reinforce those concepts, the more reading you do, the more prepared you will be for the interviews.
Yes, yes. I have no problem with that. Basically, I just want to get a scope of how much time I have to be in the classroom physically, you know.
Right, and I prefer to be in. I like to teach in person because that way the interaction is better. Online, I don't know whether you are listening or not, so there is no use. There won't be a good instructor to student communication. There won't be an interaction. So whoever can come in person, I prefer that.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, I'm gonna have to go now, but I enjoyed the presentation, and thank you once again. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy your holiday.
Thank you, same to you.
Thank you, same to you, and I will get in touch with you.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
So I think everybody left, looks like. Deepali.
Yes. So Adi, Jean, and Ritesh, do you have any questions?
I can answer questions. I have no rush, guys. But
okay. So okay, then nobody has questions, and Ratnagar sir, thank you so much. The class was really informative and really good. So I will get back in touch with everyone, all the students who came, and yes, and I'll get in touch with you also. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks, Deepali. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Bye.
Bye bye.